Going live, twirlies. Hi, how's it going? Happy Sunday from Las Vegas, your Vegas tea friends. We're here today for another daily tea practice. It's what day? We started this on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's day 5 of our daily tea practice. It's day 7 of my quarantine. Day 8? Day 8 of my quarantine? And Steven's on day 5. So yeah, it's okay. We're just brewing some tea. I'm glad that we have the chance to have some space and some time to brew some tea. So I'm happy about that. Hi to our friends from YouTube. I see Henrique, Dartboard Player. How's it going? Eric, how's it going? Yeah, and then let me get our Tea Curious on Instagram stream up just to see who's coming in. Wait for that to load. So yeah, today I hope that you guys are either, brewing your own tea, hanging out at home, or maybe you are doing what I'm doing today, which is to practice brewing a tea that I don't really like to see if there's something I can do with it to make me actually like it. The tea that I've done for this is, that I've chosen for this is a 2012 aged Chaumet. It's an aged white tea. It's the picture that you saw on Instagram and on YouTube just a couple minutes ago. Yeah, so it's a nice cake. It's really beautiful tea. I really like it, but I want to get over my aversion to white teas that are really, really good, but just so happens to have a raisiny note that I don't really like. So yeah, I have that kind of like mental block there that I'd like to get over. And then let's see. I'm trying to load Instagram to see who's over there. I see Gakko82, Niels at base. Need to restart that.
Okay.
Over on ours.
I got it.
But yeah, on Instagram, hello, welcome. I need to restart the phone just so I can see what your comments are. So hold up a second on commenting. I don't want to miss anything important that anyone's asking or sharing. Yeah, we're still trying to figure out the whole YouTube, Instagram thing. I was like, well, YouTube's easier to like for people to have tea and watch at the same time because Instagram you got to have your phone up and stuff like that, but seems like we're going back and forth, so we'll see. And my lovely assistant Steven, who is just a hand, is giving me a hand. Okay, cool beans. Let's do our work here and start off with this tea. This tea is a again 2012 aged Chaumet. Chaumet is a grade of white tea that's characterized kind of like by the tips and stuff like that. So, Silver Needle is a long, full buds. White Peony has the bud and the leaf. And then Chaumet is kind of anything that has quite a bit of tips and quite a bit of leaves. There's another grade called Gongmei that's been a little bit more popular recently. Usually you have those big leaves, not very many tips. So those are the 4 kind of like grades of white tea from China. And yeah, also recently people have started to age it more. When I was first starting to practice tea, around 2010, 2011, 2012, we didn't know about aged white tea. So this whole aged white tea phenomenon is a little bit new. I don't want anymore. And yeah, I really enjoyed kind of checking out this tea. So yeah, my taste come from, it's not that the tea is blended with raisins, of course, but tea is a really complex like leaf, like really complex plant. It's got lots of different compounds and volatiles and just delicious things that we find in the tea that over time will age and change. And it just so happens that there's something in the tea leaves when it's processed into a white tea that comes out compound wise, chemically speaking, that makes it smell and taste like raisins. So yeah, it's just kind of, so yeah, that's the thing I want to get over today. So I've got a bunch of different pots that I'd like to try to use to see if I can get, or flavor note that you're just not a fan of. So I'm curious now. I'm able to see Instagram now again, finally. What kind of teas are those for you guys? For me, aged white tea with a raisin note is a big no-no. I think that's pretty much it. I'm down for almost any tea. I'm not a picky eater. I'm not a picky drinker. It's just aged white tea with a raisin. To brew this. Ha 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 ha. Or maybe you guys can show me how to brew this. Ha ha ha. Oh my god, killing me. Why am I like this? Okay. All right. My standard gaiwan. So I've got quite a few teawares here for us to use, but I'm going to start with the gaiwan. I've chosen the other four, a wood fire teapot, the Banko Kyusu we tested yesterday. We're about to do something challenging again today. We're going to test some tea that I usually don't really like, which is a Chaumet. It's an aged white tea. It tastes like raisins. And raisin isn't the only flavor note we find in white tea. You know, you get your because then if someone's sharing a perfectly good white tea with me, you know, just happens to have raisin flavors, I kind of feel bad because I can't enjoy it with them, you know? And I'm not trying to say that you should always change your taste for other people, but I personally like to be the kind of person who can drink whatever tea and appreciate it, you know, and I usually can. So this mental block with a white tea is a big deal for me. Yeah, maybe we can work with it today. Hopefully we'll come up with something good. Just look at our little plant buddy from yesterday. Here in Vegas, we don't have a lot of plant life. So when we do pick for the tea table, you know, things to put in a vase, we're always like, what can last a little bit longer? Just because we don't have, I see pictures from like Canada and France and like Japan, and everyone's got like beautiful like parks where you can just like grab like little blossoms and stuff. We got a lot of dirt. Lots of dirt. I like an older Stephen White. Stephen's 25, so that makes him a pretty old white. Yeah, his last name is White. It's not a Caucasian joke. It can be though. If you let me. I like to have a little bit more, you know, consistency in my tea. If I keep it as a big piece, you know, the stuff on the outside is gonna infuse a lot faster than the stuff on the inside. So I don't want that. I want to break that up a little bit so that it infuses a little bit more evenly. You don't have to do this. It depends on what you like, but I just like the idea of having Hey, this is an 8-year-old tea! Yeah, I was 8 years old. I graduated from high school in 2011. I graduated from high school almost 10 years ago. I can hear some of you groaning, like I graduated from high school even longer before that. But after a certain point, we're just all old. So good luck to us. Okay, before I infuse this, I'm gonna do my favorite thing. Just the dry leaf in the prime gaiwan. It smells raisiny. To not run away or trying to work with it a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a pretty decent pour of water, close to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around 93 degrees Celsius. Probably it's dropped down a little bit since have figured out what you'd like to brew. Might as well join me in the struggle. Teas, yeah. Not very many teas that are that divisive. Matcha is another one. I was watching Inga Chen and smells, or matcha tastes like fresh fish smells. I'm like, what is that lady drinking? What kind of matcha is he drinking? Someone save her. Or maybe she meant in a good way. Not necessarily in my tea, but you know. Yeah. Okay, we'll do a pretty fast steep on this for my standards. I don't know how much leaf I put into the gaiwan. I tend to not measure out my leaf very much these days. I just kind of like to spot it out and, you know, see how it goes. Okay. It's so raisiny. Oh, it's so raisiny, but it smells like friggin' raisins. Get out of here. Okay. Let's smell Man, see, I'm sure if I had you guys smell this, you wouldn't get the raisin thing as much as I am. But you know when you don't like a flavor note, because me and raisins, they're just no. I don't know why or how. Oh, actually, yeah, Dakota Soul, it's like a bad Chopaware. Yeah, I cannot. If it's fishy in the Chopaware, I can't. Um, so, but she said fresh fish. I mean, steep of this white tea. It's really good if I just separate myself from this cup. I get like notes of, if you really want me to do notes, it's like, you know, honey and woodsy, and it's got other fruity flavors in there too that I really like. I mean, you could twist it to taste like blueberry, maybe. I like that a lot better than raisin, but yeah. Maybe I can just change my mind to make it seem like I'm tasting blueberry rather than raisin. Yeah, if I think about it that way, just a mental shift. Maybe it's just blueberry. What's more similar to raisin than blueberry? Yeah, wow, just that mental shift. Okay. That's working. Okay, so now I can kind of think about this tea as being just fruity and honey-like and sweet and smooth. I'd like to get a little bit more depth to it, actually. I think part of the reason why the raisin taste comes through is that kind of like thin flavor. The thin texture doesn't help with the raisin. It's not full-bodied, so if maybe I can push the texture, I can make it taste more rounded and sweet and honey-like rather than this thin kind of fermented raisin thing going on. And I think why aged white tea has that raisin taste is because the, you know, was it tannins, polyphenols in the tea are, you know, slowly oxidizing over time, which is what happens with grapes. You know, when grapes get old, they also oxidize over time or ferment over time, which is why we get this flavor here. So it's not surprising, but maybe I can think of it as other things that, yeah. And I think this is important because let's say if I have someone who likes aged whites and they're like, hey, Ree, can you recommend me an aged white tea, or do you want to brew some white tea with me? I always have that instinctive like, oh, I mean, I hope it's not raisiny. Man, how many times are going to say raisin in this broadcast, I wonder. And then Eric just tried Mountain Stream Tea's new Taiwanese heicha. Tastes like a semi-aged white. I dig that. Yeah, it's pretty good. Hello to Nessa Olivale on Instagram too, and Tea and Whisk, our friends from across the city. This is actually from you, Delio. This show May. I didn't want to tag you because I didn't want people to think that I hated this tea. I just don't like the raisin taste. So yeah, and hi Shiloh from Nev Orden, who's on YouTube. He's enjoying a Longfeng Xia Oolong. During the Tim Tam slam with it, he says, "What is that? Isn't Tim Tam like a sweet thing?" Yeah, okay. Maybe we can make all this tea a little bit more enjoyable that way. TJ is also on Instagram, TJ9. How's it going? Drinking game. Every time Raisin is said, take a sip. Don't dare me to do that. I'm gonna do it. What if it's like a double meaning thing? Like I'm raising a glass to you, cup. Yeah, we're raising the stakes, or we're raising your sanity to the ground. Don't do it. It's bad. Okay, so yeah, this is just thin. I don't like. There's just more we could do with it, I feel. I think if I add more depth to it, we could improve this. I'm gonna do one more steep in this Gaiwan before we maybe try a different pot to see if I can get better flavor notes to come out of it. You can think of this also kind of like cooking. I think tea and cooking have so many parallels you can look to if something about tea is not that easy to understand. I used to think I hated asparagus. I dated someone who just couldn't cook asparagus, apparently. I didn't know it at the time, but whenever he would make asparagus, he'd be like, "Oh my god, asparagus!" I'm like, "Oh my god, asparagus! Okay, I'm gonna, be really nice and eat it, and it's my veggies and stuff." But then I just didn't like it. But then prepared a different way, like, my uncle made asparagus, and I'm like, "Oh, asparagus!" And then he prepared it a different way that made me see the vegetable in a different way, and now I like it. So the same goes with tea. I think a lot of the times, especially in the West, we tend to kind of one and done teas. It's all about sampling and as many teas as possible and variety. I definitely did that early on. But yeah, there could be different ways to approach the same tea, or it just might take some time. And I learned that a lot this week with that Korean tea that Eric suggested for us to try, which we took like 4 different attempts to try to get to a point that we really enjoyed it, sort of. And then on Friday, we did that really long dongdaeng tasting with Floating Leaves as charcoal roasted dongdaeng, and only on infusion 15, okay? 15 infusions in, 2 hours in, okay? We got a caramel note to come out. We're like, wow, amazing. I mean, the tea was amazing the whole time, but yeah, tea's got some stuff to offer us. So I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. TJ, I hope you took like 3 sips because I dropped so many raisin. Raisin! Oh, is that 2 or 1? Amber, nice to see you. Proud trans girl. And Izzy Cha? Yeah. Hi from Las Vegas. See, I'm having a good time, even if I'm like not enjoying this tea. Maybe it's just you kind of different association, I'll associate this tea with having all this fun with you guys, and I can just have a better sense of humor about the whole raisin thing. Okay. Second steep of this, if I can't get this to go anywhere else, I might switch out to a different tea, or I might try to increase the amount of tea. It's a little bit weak, but then I know that there are some white teas we have that even if we use less leaf, overall, it still has a bigger, bolder body. So I'm more inclined to think it's just the tea. It's not the amount of tea I put in. Maybe a different pot will help us kind of like bring more of that richness out. And then I'm going to hit it a little bit harder to try to extract more of that flavor. Boom dizzle. Okay. So that's 205 degrees Fahrenheit. What's that, like 95 degrees Celsius? I'm trying to join the Celsius team really hard. You guys let me know if I don't know the Celsius. I really want to be able to speak in Celsius. I might not be able to speak French. I'm trying my best, but I can speak Fahrenheit and Celsius. That's the least I could do, It's the least I could do. All right. Stephen, you're not averse to white tea with raisin notes, right?
No.
Here, have some.
I paid money for this tea.
I know. I mean, I pay money for teas I don't like a lot. So yeah, let's get you some of this. And again, my lovely assistant Stephen is here. It's kind of like my another opinion, because again, tea is so subjective that sometimes what you're experiencing, what you're seeing in the cup might be different from what someone else does. And if I don't like it, I want to get a second opinion. If maybe he doesn't like it either, maybe it's just a tea. But I know from experience that this tea is a good tea. It's just a subjective thing, Hi from France. Wow, see, I got more people on the Celsius team. Sorry from America that you guys always have to be subjected to our Fahrenheit. I don't think it's a very intuitive system either. No, Shiloh, raising the stakes. Does it count for the drinking game if it's said in chat too? I don't think so. But if I read your comment, does it count? I like it. Okay. Ooh, my habit. Put the lid back on, Ray. Okay. Lid on. Remember, for those of y'all on Discord, we did this experiment on our Discord hangout last week. Seems like lid on is a better deal with a Gaiwan. So trying to break that habit. So second infusion. Is the second infusion? This is the first infusion. It's kind of cold. I think it's the first infusion. I think this is the second infusion right here. So color is a little bit deeper. It's certainly beautiful. So you can't deny just how gorgeous that liquor is. So, objectively, you can tell it's a really good tea. I think it's good to have both the ability to assess a tea for what it is, objectively, scientifically, like separate from yourself, and then also form your own opinion of it. And this is why I really want to get to know this tea better, because I look at it, the liquor is really beautiful and clear, which is a good marker of tea, especially aged tea, to stay this like nice and translucent, transparent almost, is a good sign. And then you got your little like tea hairs, white tea hairs, fluffies floating around, and it's just good. And it's got a lot of scent to it. There's no off scent, there's no weird storage scent, which is a big no-no for older teas too. So yeah, it's a really good tea. And almost no like sediment. It flakes off really easily in the cake, which I like a lot. So let's try it. Second steep. It tastes like raisins. It almost tastes like cranberry juice, Yeah, it's the first thing that hits me. It's certainly good. See, it just shocks me in my tracks. Like my enjoyment just goes out the window. Like I'm having such a good time with you guys, and then the raisins, Maybe I should just, explain to you why I have this raisin thing. Like raisins kidnapped me when I was little and, destroyed my family. I'm just kidding. Martin from Route 80, from 80 Degrees. How's it going? From across the pond. Dakota Soul says, I've been starting to do more things in Celsius, but I let it slip every now and then at work. And it confuses their American brains. It's going to help them for when we inevitably switch to Fahrenheit. I mean, 80 Degrees, the magazine, is not in Fahrenheit. It's in Celsius. So, and we all know what that is. It's not like we're thinking it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Can you imagine if Martin from 80 Degrees decided to make it 176 degrees? So that alone is just a case for the fact that it's better if we do Celsius, I think. Delphine, don't you use Bonavita? Can't you switch the display to Celsius? Yes, I can switch the display, but now that it's saying 94 degrees Celsius, I don't know what that is. I think 94 degrees Celsius is like a little bit over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, I can switch it on and off, but it's just a habit, Yeah, 203 degrees Fahrenheit. So that makes it a little bit easy for me to learn. Ale Fantasy, one of my favorite teas and aged ripe. 20 years plus is in the 4th and 5th infusions. Wow, it's pretty bad though. What? Okay, so the 4th and 5th are really bad, so it goes good, 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 and then it goes really bad, and it goes good again? It's interesting. I wonder what happens in those 4th and 5th. Claudia from Tea Epiphany, how's it going to you too? Jaime J. Ruiz, Entrete Shop, and Salvador. Hola, ¿cómo estás? How's it going? Does Mexico work in Fahrenheit or Celsius? See, I'm curious now too. I think Canada, you guys do Celsius as well. Is America the only one who does Fahrenheit? Is that it? I mean, I grew up in the Philippines and we did Celsius, so I just got brainwashed by the Fahrenheit establishment here, you know what I mean? So yeah, Easy Cha, how do you know how many infusions you need for one tea? You brew it until it goes away. So Floating Leaves, who just popped in here, we pushed their charcoal dong ding all the way to 15 plus infusions. And I mean, honestly, it just kept going and going. And only on the 15th infusion did we get a caramel note, okay? Like just sweet, sugary, just gorgeous, And you wouldn't think that you would get much past like the 10th or whatever infusion, but I really like to push tea as far as possible. Number one, I'm cheap, right? Like the more infusions you get from the tea, the better. And number two, I have just from the past seen some teas just really become gorgeous after the 10th or 11th infusion. It doesn't happen that much, but knowing floating leaves is teas, like I'm not gonna do it for just any tea, right? Like I'm not gonna brew Earl Grey like 15 times. It's just like good, 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 water, 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 water. And then after 15 infusions, suddenly it becomes good again. But with that kind of tea, sometimes there's some exciting things at the end. So you just brew until you don't like it anymore, honestly. And then you can also do a trick where you pull the leaves from the gaiwan, you kind of flip it over, put it back in, and then hit it again. You're gonna get a little bit more gas. So try it. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm seeing all our Celsius people. Oh my God, we got Mexico, Canada, Portugal, France, Budapest. I'm just so embarrassed for ourselves now. Okay, well, we're just surrounded by Celsius people. So I'm glad that, yeah, I'm glad that I have already committed myself to Celsius. I think it's just easier to talk about, you know? Okay, see, I'm having so much fun with you guys, but not so much fun with this tea. Um, for those of you who are just joining us, I'm trying to work with a tea that I know is a good tea, but it just gives me a flavor note I don't like very much, which is raisin. And the reason why, the reason why, the reason why I don't like this taste is when I was little, my parents would make me eat like those, you know, those really tiny boxes of raisins with the lady on them. And they would be like, you should eat them. They're like candy, but good for you. So little me, probably like 3 or 4 years old, was like, oh my God, candy. It looks like candy. It sounds like candy. It's got the rattling noise, like da 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 da, right? Like, and then if you pour it into your hand, it looks like candy. So probably my little brain just short circuited the first time I ate a raisin because I wasn't expecting dried shriveled fruit. I was expecting chocolate. So I was just so betrayed by my parents. And whenever now I see those little like red boxes of raisins, I just no thanks. I can't stand them in oatmeal. I can't stand them in cookies. Can't stand them in cake. I can't stand them on their own. Which is unfortunate because then this aged white tea, right, Stephen, is pretty good. You like it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious if I think everyone has that one flavor note or food experience that just stops them right in your tracks because it's just so visceral to you. I find a lot of people have that experience with seafood. Steven has a seafood problem. He's trying to get off of it, so there's that. I can't think of anything else. Oh, another thing, if y'all Asian, I don't know, I feel like a lot of non-Asian people like bitter gourd. But I hate bitter gourd. That's our like Brussels sprouts. I cannot. And the other day, the Korean green tea that Eric suggested for us to try, you know, it's my Korean green tea that a friend gave to us, but he suggested Korean green tea. At one point, it came out with a bitter gourd note, and I was like, cancel, you know, exit as fast as possible. You just can't change those unless you really work with it mindfully, I think. And in this case, I just want to get over it. That's all. So yeah. Um, Dakota Soul just searched it. Every country in the world except America, Liberia, and Myanmar uses Celsius. So it's a threatened, it's an endangered species. Eric says maybe clay would help get rid of this. Yes, so that's why, you know, I'm starting with the gaiwan first to see what a tea is like. That's usually my process when I'm trying to get to know a tea. Even if I've had it before, I want to taste what it's like today. I want to know where I'm at today, my taste buds. Things are different every day, right? Like we just had corn soup and some zucchini for lunch. If we'd had something different, we would be tasting things different. So gaiwan, warm up kind of thing. And then now that I have an idea of what the tea is like, what our water is like, what we're like today, we can now transfer this into a piece of teaware that I've used before and have seen perform in a certain way before to maybe change this tea. We're not at the mercy of our, our tea. We can do stuff to it. As it cools down, it gets more raisiny. It's the raisin flavor. It's raisin to a bad finish. Yeah, I just don't like it. Steven, you like it, right? It's good?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's totally good. It's not a bad tea, And then I feel left out when everyone's having a good time with aged white tea. I could infuse this more. It's got 11 bazillion more steeps in it, but I don't want to. That's a problem, which is unfortunate because white tea that's this good can usually go like a good, 10, 15 steeps or more. So we'll retire this for the moment. Let's see how it smells like. It smells even more like raisins in there. No. So let's think. It's not the most raisiny white tea, but it doesn't matter how raisiny it is because I can just taste it. I'm going to try to use a pot that I know mutes certain flavors in the tea. It's a pot that I use to smooth out the rough edges of roasted teas. It's a pot that seems to mute things too. So I think I would like to use the Bangkok pot that we tested yesterday. I usually use this for hojicha, and it boosts the honey, kind of caramelly, toasty flavors of the hojicha, while kind of removing some of the roughness. So I don't know if this is going to work, but I think it might. So we'll try. Yeah, we'll try it out. We'll see. Yeah, let's go preheat this while I look at the messages and stuff. So thank you for keeping me company in this foray into what I don't want to do. Yes, I would much rather spend my Sunday enjoying like Wild Mountain White, which is my favorite white tea of all time, or a Silver Needle, which I really, really like Silver Needle. I like all white teas. White tea, I think, is like my favorite category tied with oolong. With everything else a really close second. I really like all kinds of tea, but blind spot here with the aged whites. Yeah. I feel bad. Delphine, you like raisins? Let me just give you all my tea that has a raisin note in it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm cheap. I wanna drink it. Maybe you can help me appreciate it by sharing why you like raisins. Yeah, how's that? I think that can help. Chris Lim, how's it going from Las Vegas? Tea Sleuth, yeah, would never have a bitter gourd tasting tea. He doesn't like bitter gourd either. Yeah, I'm not suffering for all of you. I'm suffering for myself. You gotta do this for yourself. I mean, yes, I'm doing it on stream, so it's fun and we can maybe learn together or something, but I really do believe in what we're doing when we do tea practice. I don't like it when I get left out when my friends enjoy an aged white tea. And I know if you really think about it, whoever made this tea, where it was grown, how it's gotten to here, the 8 years of storage it's lived, it's a good tea. Like, I enjoy crappier teas than this tea. Like, I like Earl Grey that's flavored, Like, if I like that, I can find a way to like this. So that's why I'm doing it. Of course, I enjoy doing it together with you guys, but don't think I'm suffering for y'all. I'm not going to suffer for you guys. But if you like to think about it that way, that's fine too. And yeah, hopefully the tea transforms. Trekking Buddha, how's it going? I do hope the pod transforms this tea. We'll see. Shiloh says the best tea you've ever had is an aged Silver Needle. I really, really like Silver Needle, especially aged. Yeah, lots of white tea fans here. Also, if it's Tea Curious talking, that's not me. That's my homie Steven. So yeah. Fish Anywhere, how's it going? Lonely Outlier, how's it going? And Life's Film. Welcome to our trying to suffer through white tea I don't really like, so I can find ways to enjoy it more. Tea session. It's a long tea session name. We're working with a 2012 aged Chaumet that has a note I don't really like that much. Raisin. And yeah, we tried it with the Gaiwan. As expected, the Gaiwan just gives me a layout of what it is. Honey, raisin, and then woody. The Bangkok pot here, which I usually use for hojicha, is a smoothening, kind of like thickening, kind of like sweetening kind of pot. It's very attractive. So we'll see how it does. Yeah, I'm going to try to use a little bit more tea than I did in the Gaiwan to see if a larger amount of leaf can kind of get us somewhere. Yeah, and then just like the first first session, what do you call that? The first batch of leaves, I'm going to break this up so that I am getting more even infusion, because if I put a big chunk of it in there, it's not going to infuse as evenly. And if you just like to put whole chunks in your teapot, that's fun too. I'm not going to fault you for that. But let's say we start with a chunk like this. Number one, it's not going to fit. But number two, we talked about this earlier. If you're infusing, the stuff that's in the middle, that's been in, like, the stuff that's pressed in a little bit more tight, is going to take a longer time to get wet and get infused and start doing its work. So I want everyone to be nice and exposed to the water, and I'm going to do that by breaking it up. Yeah, a little bit more than that. So you can do this also with your pu'er, with your pressed, what else is pressed? Pressed white tea, pressed green tea, which they're doing fine, by the way. Now that we have a little bit more time this month, I think Stephen and I will press a couple more of those dragon milk cakes just for funsies. Usually when you are storing tea, it's a good idea to have them live together with other teas of their type. And those dragon milk tea cakes are pretty lonely. You know, they don't have a lot of friends in the world to speak of. So we're gonna have to make more of them. Okay. I'm gonna blast us. Yeah. Let's pack it. Got a little like nice and working hard table. Okay. Let that prime in for a little bit. So this is heated, and then I put the leaves in the dry but heated pot to kind of wake up the leaves. I bet the smell is gonna be really good when we open it up. Let's see. Trekking Buddha. Yes, this is a bankoyaki. I really like this pot. It's just dope for hojicha. I'm not sure. I've never had a second bankoyaki pot. Banko is like maybe the second most famous type of pottery from Japan. In comparison to tokoname, it seems to have like a more smooth, kind of mellow effect. So lots of our roasted oolong and hojicha kind of go through this pot if we're thinking a little bit more cozy. Yeah. Let's see. Shiloh, I don't see my favorite tea likely. It was that good. What tea is this? What tea is this, Shiloh? Did I miss out? Oh, jasmine scented silver needle. I do like jasmine scented silver needle, even if it's not whisked into matcha. Don't get me wrong, you know. Okay. Let's get this going. See, some of you guys are talking about heicha and stuff. All right. I like that smell. It's not so raisiny. Yeah. Want to smell it, Steven? Cool. I'm excited. Let's see if this works. And then this is the one that in theory I think will work the best out of all of these pots here. But tea is weird, you know, you don't know what's going to happen to it. So even if this doesn't work, we still got a couple backup backup teapots to try. And then we could try switching out the cup, you know, we could try removing the pitcher to see if we can get a better result. Okay. We will use boiling water. We can also drop the temperature, but usually I don't like dropping the temperature. I just like using pretty hot water. So that's probably going to be my last resort out of everything. And then I'm going to try to make it nice and soft, even if it is hot. I'm not going to pour directly on the leaves. I'm going to tilt the kyusu and pour on the sides of it, avoiding the tea, so that they just kind of like sink with this nice bath of hot water and just at the very end kind of push them in so that I'm not just pouring directly in. I have a feeling that that raisin note is from a higher extraction of something that's related to polyphenols. And polyphenols you find in like blueberries and raisins and fruit skins. So I'm thinking to reduce the fruit skin characteristic going on here even more. We can drop the temperature a little bit. Because tendencies are, in my experience, the more rough and kind of like high the temperature is, the more you'll extract more of those kind of slightly dry fruit skin kind of notes, like raisins. Lots of little adjustments here. Why not just brew it at a lower temperature, Ree? I like using hot water. I will work however I need to adjust for it otherwise. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to hear about the jasmine scented silver needle, Shiloh, because I really, really, really like silver needle, and I also really like jasmine scented silver needle. I think out of all the jasmine teas, scented silver needle is my favorite. It just works really well. Sometimes I like to push to get the jasmine flavor out, and with the green tea, kind of can get disastrous sometimes. So, yeah, let's go. Are there raisins inside, Steven? Can you see? Can you see into the void? I wonder how this is gonna go. I mean, it looks the same, of course. But I hope it goes well. Good Ree. Putting my lid on and leaving it. It smells a lot like raisins! Why? It's really raisiny. Ugh. We'll see.
You're giving this to me to drink all of it.
I'm giving it to you to smell it. Of course I'm gonna drink it. I made it. It smells raisiny, doesn't it? Do you even smell the raisin in it? What do you smell mostly?
Show me.
Yeah. Thanks. It smells kind of funky too, like a little bit more fermenty. So at least it's interesting, you know? Wow. That's different. Okay, don't get me wrong. There's still a raisin taste there, but it's a little bit more soft and sweet, and the honey flavor is a little bit more apparent here with the Banko Kyusu. It's almost got like an oolong feeling to it, in that it's the texture is improved, which is what we wanted. That's a thumbs up there. The sweetness has improved too, which is another thumbs up. The thin kind of like tanniny taste has kind of smoothed out, which is another thumbs up. So we got 3 points. Switching to the Kyusu. I still get a raisin taste though, but it's a little bit different. It's almost like fermented raisin or raisin, maybe like grape juice. I like it better. Yeah, yeah. The raisin kind of flavor is only towards the front. The very first sip of it, I'm like, oh God, wait, no, defend myself, and then it kind of fades away to like the sweet, honey, woodsy. So it's weird because it's the same notes we're getting from the Gaiwan, but rearranged a little bit. That makes me like it better. You know, that's weird. Yeah, I'm surprised that that's working out pretty well. Okay, yeah. I just need to not smell it. It smells very raisiny. And sometimes the aroma doesn't always match the profile of the tea, it seems like. So the taste and the smell are different. I'm going to try pouring directly from the Kyushu into our cups this time because I wonder if our glass pitcher is interfering a little bit with the taste of the tea in a way I don't like. I find that glass pitchers will make the tea a little bit more sour, a little bit more tart. So we'll see if we can remove that. It's very smooth. It is really, really smooth. And I can feel the tea kind of moving a little bit better with this pot here. Like I can feel it in the stomach in a good way, you know, kind of nice and comforting and warm. Yeah, it's very warm. I like it a lot. Okay, let's see. We're on to something. I am actually enjoying this tea now. Not to the fullest I could possibly, but we're getting somewhere, you know? We're getting somewhere. Yeah, you dig it too, Steven? Now, I'm curious if we can use a different cup to kind of like mellow out the raisin flavors. Can you use the Zhuangyan Wen? Oh, you want to use that one, of course.
Eric's
Yeah, okay. Eric's cup that he picked up in Taiwan and then decided that Ree and Steven would like it better. Let's try it out. Okay. And then, yeah, one of those here. So this is a electric fired Taiwanese cup that seems to do well with Oriental Beauty. So maybe it might be good with white tea. That's it for now. Let's try those out. Yeah. Okay. Oh my god, that smells really raisiny. Why does it smell so raisiny, but it doesn't taste as bad? Oh god, that's like a horror film. Whew. Why? Why? Okay, let's drop the temperature even more. I'm going to do the thing that I do when I want to drop the temperature instead of just adjusting my kettle a little bit lower, which is to pour on the Kyushu lid. And that's going to have the tea, you know, kind of drip down a little bit. The temperature is going to fall because it's hitting a surface before it goes down to the pot. Why do I do this? Because one time I had to cool down my water to brew sencha and I got too lazy to go get something to cool it in. So I just did this and it worked. And it seems to have good results. So until something doesn't work for me, I'm going to keep doing it. All right. Cool beans. All right. Let's see. Shiloh, excellent Heicha curation. Who's the excellent Heicha curation person? Then what are you all angry about? The fact that I'm drinking all this raisin stuff for you guys? It's for me. I want to get over this hump. I'm going to try to brew it a little bit shorter so that when I pour out, that little like back and forth motion is not gonna agitate the leaves too much. Ooh, I filled that Kyushu really high. When you do this back and forth with your Kyushu, make sure not to jostle the leaves too much accidentally. If you'd like to, kind of give it a more violent rocking motion. Of course you can do that, but I forgot to preheat my cups. It's ruined. It's okay. We'll deal with it. So yeah, I'm just trying to pour as gently as possible. I'm trying to get out more sweetness, less quote-unquote complexity by doing this. And for the record, I don't use this Kyushu if I'm trying to get complexity or crispness from a tea. I use it to kind of tone down a tea when it's just a little bit too much. I use it to get things to get a little bit more sweet. Let's see if these cups make a difference. None of these cups are actually ones I use to smoothen out tea, so I'm not sure how it's going to go, but we'll see. We got a couple more cups we can use. All right. That's pretty good. Oh God. Wow. The difference between these two, that tastes like raisins. Get away from me. Steven, you can have this cup. Wow. Gosh.
Wow, it does.
That's really raisiny. Dude. Wow, that's okay. Oh God, why does my cup taste more raisiny than your cup? They're both wood fire cups. That's why wood fire you gotta test, because you know they're just so variable. The ash glaze is so beautiful but also unpredictable. So this is my personal cup. It's my favorite cup to use, just that's fancy, you know. And Steven's one and mine are from the same maker, but you see the insides of them are a little bit different looking because of the way the guy loaded the kiln and the way the ash fell on the cups. Steven's, I know, makes things taste a little bit softer. I like mine because it makes things a little bit brighter. I tend to usually like things to taste quite bright and defined, but in this case, I don't. So Steven's cup is better than mine. For me, see, that's awesome. But if I do this one, wow. That's like raisin skin. Very tannic, really sour. I don't really like sour in my tea. I'm scared because this is similar on the inside to this. It's a very beautiful cup though. All right, it's golden on the inside. Smells like a pool of raisins in there. It's okay. Wow, that's not bad. It's actually, yes. I was afraid, but now I'm not. There you go. So this one is surprisingly soft and smooth, almost like grape juice. So that went better than I thought. I was a little worried. And it brings out a nice aftertaste in the tea too. I'm surprised that did well. So even if they look similar on the inside, they can have this like grayish glaze. They're from different firings, so God knows what kind of ash fell down into the cups and glazed them. That's why wood fire cups are so fun. So now I know this is pretty good with aged white. It makes it taste like grape juice, which is a lot better than raisin. Yeah, that's not bad. Wow. Dope. I'm happy. And last one. That's not bad. Just kind of tastes like black tea in this one. It's got a little bit more depth. It has like a bitter, sharp taste in front though. That might be my fault because I didn't preheat these cups. And I find that these electric fired cups tend to be a little bit sharp with some teas, especially if you don't preheat them. But that's not bad. The worst one is mine. And then the original kind of like my testing, like stripped down basic cup. And I use this for almost everything because it tends to do well with most things and not change it too much. So I know the tea is still like raisiny at its core, but if I had to choose, I would say these two did pretty well to change the experience quite a bit. Yeah, see, that's pleasant now. That's really good.
It ended.
That's good, but this is better. Maybe because I didn't preheat. Yeah. What's
We
up?
got it.
Okay. We got to restart over on Instagram. I don't think anyone's on YouTube. The connection's just too bad. So let's get back on it. Yeah.
You are now live.
I'm now live. Okay.
Sorry for the interruption.
We were racing to get back live.
Hey.
I'm having a great time with you guys.
Hey.
I can't keep going. Thanks for everything. I don't know how to follow that up. That's just too lame. Okay, cool. Welcome back, Neelis Bass, the voice, not the instrument. We know now. Claudia, welcome back. Delphine, welcome back as well. And I have one other joined. I don't like when Instagram does that. My friends are not one other.
Fish Anywhere.
Is it Fish Anywhere?
I saw
Okay,
it.
dope, cool. So welcome back, Fish Anywhere. Yeah, so let's continue this. We have another hour of practice together. Pop in, pop out, whatever you'd like to do. But this is a process. So if you can kind of like go through this with us, maybe there's a tea. Think about it. What tea is in your stash that you're like, it's good, but I don't like it because XYZ. It's possible. For the record, we haven't brewed that in ages because Steven likes it, but I don't. So I always veto, you know? Only because of the raisin notes. And it looks like these two cups, the combination of the Kyushu and these two cups, I'm calling it pretty okay. It's not perfect though. I wonder if there's another adjustment we can make. And remember, when you're using porcelain, Gaiwan porcelain cup, that's kind of like your standard, like the tea as it is without the filter. It's the hashtag no filter for the tea. But using a different pot, different cups, different pouring style, we're getting somewhere. Feel like we could do a little bit more. We could figure out what else we could do to make it a little bit softer. Maybe I need to drop the temperature a little bit more. Yeah, let's try that. I'm going to actually use what temperature is up here. 156. It's a little bit too low. Let's get it up to, we'll set the temperature, because as we learn, it's better just get the temperature you need. 185, because I want to extract less of those kind of fruity, bitter compounds to see if we can get it even sweeter. My goal is to get the honey woodsy notes out, because I like those. So if I can get those out, I might enjoy this better.
Did you try this one?
I did. It was sharp.
Ah,
yeah. But we need to preheat these, I think, is a problem. Shiloh, welcome back. Rap Shees, welcome back. And Jay Scott, how's it going? Hello from Las Vegas, where we're working with a tea that is objectively a really good tea, but subjectively just doesn't, it just tastes like raisins. And yeah, I think all of us have that flavor note somewhere. We can't stand, even if it's perfectly good tasting, you know, it's just something that's related to our memory somewhere that we don't really want to deal with. And for me, it's raisins. Just never had a good time with them growing up. And unfortunately, aged white tea, a lot of them have that raisin note there. So we'll try to work with it. So far, we've brewed in the Gaiwan to see where the tea is at, and then we switched over to a Banko Kyushu, the one that I use for hojicha and roasted oolong, to try to get that same smooth, sweet effect into this tea. It's working a little bit. I think we can adjust it a little bit more so I can actually really enjoy it. Right now, I'm kind of settling. I'm enjoying it just for the fact that I don't hate it. And interestingly, these 3 cups here, my porcelain, my personal wood fire, and an electric fire Taiwanese. These guys, not good for this tea for my taste. But these 2, which are actually from the same maker as this, make the tea taste better because they smooth out and kind of destroy a lot of that raisin thing. So we're getting somewhere. Yeah, let's try that too. Put in a different wood fire cup from a different maker, different clay blend. We got so many options. I'm so excited. So yeah. Fish Anywhere is brewing some Imperial Grade Yueganbai in Gaiwan. That's another tea I want to explore more because Yueganbai, the ones I've had, tend to have a lot of raisin in them. Shiloh, now are you talking about American boxed raisins or the artisan Yunnan raisins that you specifically pair with tea? Shiloh, you know I'm talking about the boxed raisins, right? Like, I don't think I've ever had artisan Yunnan raisins. I think I've had raisins in Taiwan too, but you know, they get served up with everything else, and I'll just go for the sunflower seeds or other fruit, you know, just because, yeah, no, it is a boxed American type, the one that comes in a little red box, you know. Scary. It's not my thing. Okay, let's drop the temperature on this again, make it really gentle. Again, I'm pouring on the Kyushu to try to like stop the water stream from hitting the leaves too hard and also drop the temperature at the same time. I developed this because I'm lazy. It's great. You just have to find the right angle for your Kyushu. So even if the stream of water is pretty hard, you know, dropping it down from like a high height, if it's just dropping from a high height like this, the impact on the leaves is pretty harsh. But by hitting the Kyushu lid first and then dropping it down, it's kind of softer. So it works for me. I'm going to keep using it until it doesn't work. And so far, it's just always worked for me. So yeah. And Shiloh, if you talk to me about Yunnan artisan raisins, now we gotta get some of those going, you know? Ugh, gosh, your cups matter. Not good, good, not good, good. See, that just tastes like delicious, like sweet cranberry juice. Not so much cranberry, more so like juice. People be like, I wanna pick the best Yixing pot in the world for my tea, but I don't care what pot I use. I mean, what cup I use with it. I'm like, it's the same thing. Materials matter.
Or I'll just use
basically. Or like, I don't know. I guess it's the same as like, oh, I'm gonna buy like $1,000 carbon steel pan, but I'm gonna buy like Walmart ingredients. Or yeah, like serve like a rusty spoon. And trust me, I didn't know about this cup thing either until one of my tea teachers, Fang, who's part of my tea family in Taiwan, literally sat me down and was like, hey, here's 2 cups that are glazed and then a wood fire cup. You want to taste them to see what the difference is? And this was like 5 years ago. I'm like, nah, like, you know, glazed is glazed, right? As long as it's glazed, it won't affect the flavor of the tea. That's what I was taught. It's what I read online. That's what I knew. It's what I always just, you know, accepted. And then she had me taste the teas in those different cups. And I was like, oh my God. You know, and it's a blend of excitement because there's more things to explore, but also a blend of like, man, like I thought I knew a lot, but now I know I just know less and less each day. But it's fun. I really like that there's so many little things you can consider, and that's why it's fun practicing with you guys because we have all these different inputs, ideas. Stephen here likes the taste of this tea just on its own. And when you're able to surround yourself with more ideas, you're just exponentially learning, I think. Yeah, so it's good. Okay, let's get this pouring. I'm going to start here. I eliminated the fairness picture so that maybe I could eliminate the effect of the glass on the tea. I find that glass pitchers tend to make teas a tiny bit more sour, a tiny bit more tart and dry. So hopefully by trying to pour it really gently out of this Kyushu, we can reduce some of that as well. Lots of different adjustments. It's fun to play around with, you know, it's just really fun. It's like you're cooking, but all you need is water and leaves. And I could eat all day if I wanted to, but I don't know, I can't eat all day. I would die. Okay, let's smell the leaves here. Wow, okay, that's the best smell I've smelled so far. It's like grape juice. I like it. Let's see. Shiloh's got the deets on our fancy Yunnan raisins. I have some I can order from a local tea shop in Portland. They get them directly from a shop in Beijing that are sourced from Yunnan farmers. Wow, that's interesting. I believe in that because I feel like, you know, tea teaches us stuff beyond the tea too. And tea, I thought I didn't like, let's say, like I wasn't really inspired by Dragonwell for a long time. I wasn't really inspired by what else did I not really like? Shopur, I didn't really like for a long time. And then if you get an example of that thing that's higher quality or just better made, suddenly you're like, oh shit, I actually like that. I was just waiting for a better version of it, you know? When I went to Europe, I went and, I ate bread and I hadn't had European bread. And I was like, oh my God, their bread tastes like wheat. Our bread here in America tastes like flour, which is wheat too, but I mean, you can really taste the ingredient. And so I fell in love with bread there. So I would like to try those. Shiloh also, this is really interesting, all this stuff from a ceramics viewpoint. The thickness of the vessel and the glaze density seems to make a difference in flavor too. Yes, so not only are these made of different materials, they're made of they have different glazes on the surface, they have different walls, and the shape of each is going to affect the experience too in tiny ways. Even just visually, this one has a brighter color here. You can see the color of the tea more, but this one kind of makes it look dark. This one makes it look almost pitch black, in comparison. So lots of little adjustments again that are making the tea change a little bit. Fish Anywhere. Yunnan farmer opens up Sunmade. Yeah, Sunmade. That's the raisin I don't like, and sells them to people in the US for 500% markup. I bet we can do a taste test of raisins from Yunnan and the Sunmade ones. I don't mind if I get it wrong either, because then if I pick the Sunmade ones, they're cheaper. I don't want to pick the Sunmade ones. I would hope I like the Yunnan ones better, but maybe I've changed my mind and the memory of them is worse than the actual taste. Melt in the mouth with tea. I don't remember Sunmade raisins being melt in the mouth with tea. Okay, let's try these now that I was waiting for them to cool down, Steven. He's all excited. Okay, let's start from here because I poured from here first. Smells good. So we're introducing this other wood fire cup. It's from a different maker than the ones that the guy who made this. So different blend. This is actually a blend of Japanese and American clay. So a little bit interesting, different. Wow. Wow. Wow, that tastes really good. Wow, okay, that's the first wow today, and wow is what you want, right? Like it's an unmistakable boom, that's it, and that's it. Yeah, that's really good. I actually am actively enjoying this, not just on a it's better than usual kind of level. This is good. Yeah, I mean the raisin is just tiny bit of it there, but what's there is more sweet. It's more like grape juice. It's honey-like. It's soft. It's good. It's really, really good. It's almost like airy, fluffy in the mouth. It's light and friggin' delicious. It's good. Yeah. Yeah. Another problem is we gotta go down. We started with a good one. Let me save some. We could be surprised, but the problem is when you have the good one in the start, going downhill is very painful. So we'll see. I didn't like this one the last time. I don't like it now. It's not bad. It's not even so much it makes the raisin taste come out. It's just a little bit sharp and sour. So not my favorite. Let's see. I liked this one the first time. That's still good. That tastes like cranberry juice. It's still good. I like it, but after that, this one's kind of like knocked down a peg. It's not bad though. I do like this. TJ, welcome back to our attempt to brew the Chaumet in a way that I enjoy. We found one. We found one so far. That's not as bad as the first steep. Remember the first one? I really didn't like it out of this cup. It's not as bad. Might be like a comparison thing though, because if you go from like really good to not so good, it makes the difference more pronounced. See, now I don't like this as much as that. That's odd. Yeah, not sure. Now I've switched my opinion on these. I like this one better than this, but not by much. The problem is I already have a reference point that's like, yeah. So this one is just raising the bar for everyone else. God, that's horrible. So that's a porcelain cup. That's what the tea really tastes like, you know? It's the hashtag no filter on the tea. Yeah, that's not, no. I usually like this cup. This is the cup I use to evaluate tea because I know what's going on there. So it's not hiding anything from me. So it makes sense that it tastes really terrible to me. But wow, this one. Oh, Steven, you should try this. I mean, maybe you won't like it as much as I do, but it's just really good. That's amazing. That's really, really good. What's happening there? Why is that so good? Is it good? Do you like it?
Oh yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
You're not just saying that. But you don't mind the raisin taste, right?
Still makes it better.
Okay. Well, what's happening is,
Not even
yeah,
a flavor thing.
the texture is really good on this cup. This cup is the most porous, so the other ones have a little bit more glaze on the inside from the ash falling down into the cup. This one has a little bit less. The markings on it here are more like heat and fire marks. There's not so much ash glaze on the inside, so when you touch it, it's very rough. Unlike here, it's rough but a little bit more smooth than this one. So this one's the most quote-unquote porous. Maybe Shiloh, you can help us figure out a better way to talk about this, but it's the most rough. I don't want to call it porous though, because other things are porous, but they don't feel as porous on the surface. This is why we have a ceramics friend, right? Help us out. It feels more rough, and so I feel like it's helping absorb or smoothen out a lot of the flavor in the tea. Kind of like an Yixing pot. Yixing pot, when you first get it, you know, the first couple steeps, first couple days or weeks, it's gonna take flavor away from the tea. And this one we've used quite a bit. This is mine, right? Is this mine? Yeah, I've used this quite a bit. We have a couple of these, so I'm not, is this mine or not? And so it's not, I don't think it's robbing the tea flavor, or maybe it is, but in this case, I really enjoy that it's taking away what I don't like about the tea, but it's also adding like a fluffy, almost airy texture. This cup is amazing with everything. High Mountain Oolong, though. High Mountain Oolong, which you want to be fluffy and airy, delicate cloud butter thing going on. It's like friggin' like cloud chiffon in this thing, like cloud whipped cream. It's like you took the cloud, it's really cloudy, then you whipped it some more to make it like, wow, amazing. So it's working really well with this tea. I didn't expect that. I really wish we got a pot from this guy. Steven, regrets. This material is so good for certain teas. Yeah, we gotta go back and get some more. This is so good. So upsettingly good how good this clay is. To be fair, it doesn't do good with everything. I haven't met a material that's good with everything yet. It just doesn't work. You know, like even your favorite person. Think about your favorite person. Like my favorite person, Steven. Maybe. Never mind. There's still things he's not very good at, like tasting notes. You can't. Here, Steven, try to describe this tea. What are your tasting notes?
It's good.
He's not good at that. He's also not good at taking compliments. Steven, you're really amazing. So even the best people and the best materials are not good at everything, you know? So it just so happens that this one is good with this tea. And that's new to me. That's a new discovery for me. We wouldn't have known that without trying it out. I'm happy with that progress. Fish Anywhere says, second steep, I'm starting to get a raisin taste on this week gone by. Not averse to it, so I guess it's not as present to me. Yeah. If you're not averse to a flavor note, it's not going to be as present. We used the cilantro example earlier on. If you don't like cilantro, even if you put a tiny sprinkle of it into something, you're going to taste it. I remember making a salsa for a friend who didn't like cilantro. I used the tiniest bit. I just wanted to spice it up. I knew she didn't like cilantro, but I thought if I use just a tiny bit, it's going to be okay. But she was like, is there cilantro in this? I thought I trusted you. And she could taste it. Did that same thing with dumplings. Try to make dumpling filling with just a tiny bit of cilantro for that same friend, and she could taste it. You can detect those flavors really, really well. Maybe it's an evolutionary thing. We are supposed to be able to detect flavors that we're supposed to avoid really well, which is why humans are very sensitive to bitter, because in the past, if something was bitter, it was likely to kill us or just not be good for us. So that bitter flavor is a signal to us to avoid it. And if you, let's say, got sick because you ate some bad shrimp at one point in your life, you're gonna smell that shrimp taste like bright as day, even if it's just a tiny amount is present. I remember getting sick once from shrimp. That's why I remember that. I got over it, so hoping I can get over this raisin thing. So, yeah. Nicole, how's it going from down the road? Shiloh, we all bring some to the table. Same with materials. Yes. That's why I don't hoard teaware just for the sake of it. There's like a purpose, right? Just trying to justify the tea habit, I guess. Let's see if we can drop the temperature even more. I'm gonna use 170 degrees Fahrenheit is, oh God, let me see, the 77 degrees Celsius. There we go. I'm going to use even cooler water because I think it's a combination of the cooler water that we did and also the cup. Let's see if we can get a different result by dropping the temperature even more. Steven, is there another cup you want to test?
Nah.
That's it?
Yeah.
I want to see what the tall cups do.
Okay.
I almost want to try glass to see how horrible it is. It could just be good though. I'm being biased. Let's try it. So glass, and then let's try some Royale. Let's see. Okay. Royale. Okay. Royale, I actually like to use for heicha. It tends to kind of smoothen out the sourness of heicha and just tone down the scent a little bit. So maybe this might work. So I'm going to switch out the two wood fire cups, our personal ones, because we know what they taste like. We know this isn't good. And then this guy I want to keep in because it's the second best one out of this lineup. So we will put some new challengers in to see how they do. I don't want to put the glass one next to the good one. That's just cheating. You know how when you drink something or eat something really delicious, the next thing better live up really hard. Okay. Teen Travel, welcome to our test from over here in Las Vegas. Okie dokie. And then for those of you who have been curious about our Pu'er challenge, I've been getting some questions about that. We are not starting yet. We are starting on April 1st. It's not a joke. We're going to do Pu'er. And we were inspired by our friend Ian on Discord, who I think it was, who was it who asked that question? What percentage, I think he was the one who asked the question. What percent, yeah, Uncle Ira was omnivorous.
Yeah.
He asked, what percent breakdown of tea do you tend to drink? Like, is it 50% Pu'er, 30% oolong, 10% white tea, etc.? What's the largest amount you drink? What do you not drink very much of? So it's really interesting to see everyone's breakdowns. of what kinds of teas we drink and compare how other people do too. Surprisingly, a lot of the people on our Discord drink a lot of oolong and white tea and green tea, not as much black tea and pu'er. And so he mentioned, wow, there's not a lot of pu'er. I'm surprised. And I was like, you're right, because there's certainly lots of people who are really into pu'er. But for a couple different reasons, like I think Lion said it's too expensive or it's harder to get pu'er. Henrique, I forgot what you said about pu'er. Do you drink a lot of pu'er? I'm curious to Shiloh. You drink a ton of different kinds of tea. And having been to Yunnan, I find that when you go to the place, it's almost impossible to get rid of the tea that you've developed a taste for from there. So Shiloh and Mev Orden has been to Yunnan, studying with local ceramicists there, which is really, really dope. Because not only is Yunnan really difficult to get to, we do our tours to Taiwan here, and I honestly think it's relatively easy for us to do that. As someone who wasn't born in Taiwan, I'm lucky enough to like be able to get to know Taiwan enough to show you what I really love about the country and the experiences there, which is why I'm there so much. But a place like Yunnan is, even for mainland Chinese, it's not even it's pretty foreign, not in a bad way, but it's not as easy to get to or dive deep into. So Shiloh's experiences there, not only traveling there, but also learning with local people, is priceless. That's why we like to ask him questions like, what should we do about materials and stuff? And what tea do you drink? And everything. I'm just lucky he has the patience to answer all my questions, as do most of my tea teachers and tea mentors and tea co-mentors and friends and stuff. You need people who are patient enough to humor you. And tea people tend to be quite patient anyway. All right. Let's pour this out with a fresh set of tea cups. I kept the one I liked the most from the second round. I took away some of the cups I just wasn't enjoying at all whatsoever. And then we'll test these out. This is, I think, the third infusion, maybe fourth infusion, Stephen? I think it's the fourth, because the first one we did with the pitcher. The second one, we removed the pitcher and just did a run through. The third one, we added this. And then now this is the fourth. Okay, I'm curious to see how the leaves are doing. Not bad. Not as raisiny anymore. Let's try it. Oh, they're hot. Let's wait a little bit. Fish Anywhere, 80% oolong, 5% white, green, and black. So your Yuegang Bai right now is not that common for you. So that's interesting. I do a lot of white tea, but not a lot of aged white tea, unless it's like my favorite ones. I think right now I feel like I'm only running low on white tea. Everything else, I don't think you can even remotely say I'm running low. Yeah, gotta work on that stuff. We were talking about the pour challenge, right? So April 1st, we still have some time to kind of get your pu'ers in. A couple of you have asked me about the pu'er samples from a couple of the places that I like, especially the one here in Vegas, Tea and Whisk, which I just suggest because they have really, really good pu'er, but are in the States. We got a couple samples from Zhuohuang today. Surprise! Steven didn't tell me he was ordering those. We ordered those before we, kind of can't work right now. It's okay. Even my work in tea is kind of, I work with tea businesses, right? And tea people, and they're suffering. So it's not a really good financial time, I think, for most of us in the tea community, but that's okay. Ups and downs are all right. The tea plants with the most struggle tend to be the most tasty, right? So now we'll get really tasty. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, let me know. I'm trying to help Tea and Whisk get their sampler up, helping them figure out what I think people would like to try for the first time. Again, I don't work with them, nor do I get any commission from recommending tea from anywhere. but the point of that challenge we're about to do is to explore lots of different pu'ers. If you don't do a lot of pu'er right now, so you can see what you like. And then if you like pu'er, you're just gonna have a good time because finally we're gonna do some pu'er on Tea Curious and the Discord and in our little tea circle, you know. Let's try this out. That's so dope. Dude, that's like grape marshmallows, but thin, but not in a bad way. It's like whipped cream with a little bit of grape flavor in it, and sweet. So that's good. That's really good. I can't believe that's the same tea that I've been struggling with so much. There's almost no raisin flavor. It's just sweet, grape, honey, delicious. Part of that is the fact that we're dropping the temperature though, so it's a combination. That's not bad, but that reintroduces the raisiny taste. It's a little bit more grape though than raisin, which is good. So that's not too bad. I enjoy that. It's not as good as this though. This is from the same maker. I think they're probably the same firing, but they are different shapes and they were probably in different parts of the kiln, so they are still different on the inside. This is amazing with Phoenix Oolong, just mind-blowing. I cannot do Phoenix Oolong without this cup now. Seeing the messages move over here. Fish Anywhere, my favorite is Sugar White. I like the sound of Sugar White. I like sugar and white tea. And Marco, how's it going? Yes, explore pu'er. I arrived in the right moment. We summoned you and was like, rubbed our fingers and like summon the pu'er people. I'm really excited that we're going to be able to explore pu'er. I feel like sometimes there's a divide between tea and then pu'er. There shouldn't be, you know, just it's all tea. And I didn't put it there, the divide. I just tend to not drink as much pu'er because I drink a lot of tea, and when I drink pu'er, I feel like I need to sit down with it and go all the way to like the 15 or 20 steeps. And then, like Henrika says, are we ready to get tea drunk and stuff? Pu'er can give me a lot of energy too, depending. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So I don't always want to gamble with that. It's not as good as these two. It's good though. It's not bad. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. So these three are pretty good. This one's my favorite still. Now let's try the Ruyao Cup. We're brewing the Shomei in a Banko Kyushu. We've been testing it out for those of you who are just joining us. It's a tea I don't really like because of the raisin note. So it's my attempt to try to remove that note or otherwise get used to it or brew it in a way that it's actually enjoyable. So far, I'm just trying to get rid of it. That's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, that's actually better than this. So I picked the Ruyao because I like it with heicha to remove the sour notes and kind of smooth it out a little bit. I find that Ruyao Celadon, this kind of matte Celadon, it's a Chinese material. It's the one with the crackles on the inside, although I tend to like to scrub them out. I know crackles are supposed to look nice, but I don't like the look, so I scrub it out usually. They tend to mute teas for me. So I figured it might work well because I'm trying to kind of tone down this white tea a little bit. Because while I usually like to get all the complexity out from the tea, I want to tone it down a tiny bit here. And it worked. It worked. Yeah. Very nice. It worked. So good. I'm happy about that. So we're doing well. Unfortunately, now we're going to hit the brakes because we're going to do We're gonna do the porcelain and the glass. I don't know why I put them at the end. I know I wanted to move it from there to here. I didn't want to follow the really good one with glass, which you know me, I glass cups only in the right context. Let's see. I'm trying to enjoy myself, but now we gotta do the porcelain. Okay, so the lower temperature has indeed helped the tea, but there's still the raisin note just clinging to life on this porcelain cup, because porcelain cup kind of brings out everything, and it's still there, and compared to that, I don't want it. Steven, you can have this. You go. And then glass. Is not as bad as porcelain. Wow, all that like shebang and ruckus I made about the glass cup. It's okay. Yeah, I actually like it. I'm shocked. There we go. So I found another use for glass is maybe for some aged white tea. So it is making it a little bit more tart and sour, but the raisin note has gone away and it's a little bit more smooth. So yeah, it's certainly not as good as this. Don't get me wrong, but that's not bad. Okay, all right. We've gotten some good options here. I'm really happy. So far we've gotten from complete and total raisin meltdown, which is what I feel like when I have this tea, to actually transforming it into something that tastes a little bit more palatable for me. So far I'm happy. I need to figure out what next thing I want to try. Maybe we'll try, this is the easy pick for me. I decided to use this Banko Kyushu. It tends to make things soft and smooth. It's a very easy pot. I almost want to try something that's a little bit unusual to see if we can get something completely different. We have a couple more pots here that I can choose from, but let me see what our friends have been saying. Let's see. Marco from Entertainer, I tend to divide Puer and the others. Yeah, see, we kind of almost subconsciously divided. It's Puer and other stuff. Apart from joking, every tea can have many qualities and varieties, so there's a lot to explore in every leaf. Yeah, I agree with that. And honestly, while I don't think Puer will ever be my favorite, who knows? It could change. It's very, very close. I like tea pretty close to each other. It's not like I like oolong a whole lot more than Puer. I just find that oolong is more convenient, and I think that boosts it for me. And of course, I haven't been to Yunnan. I'm sure if I've gone to Yunnan, that would change a lot of things for me. I have this really strong connection to Indian and Nepalese teas because I've been there, and they're honestly not the most like objectively inspiring teas in the world, because the tea making skill is not that fantastic there yet. They're still trying to get to a better standard, learn how to craft the teas. But I have that connection to those teas, so I like them more, I think, than the average person. And Marco and Shiloh haven't been to Yunnan. I wonder if that changed your love of Puer. Maybe boosted it for you, Marco, since I know you've always liked it. Cody, biggest tea fan. We haven't seen you in a long time. It's from far away. I'm actually looking in the wrong direction. Cody's over in that direction. Welcome to the hangout. Shiloh, true, just indicate that one's bias should not affect the individual taste of another tea head, and everyone can form their own opinions. Yeah. I was gonna respond to that, then I saw Marco's comment. Poor Steven, he takes only the bad teacup. It's not bad. He just doesn't mind the flavor of it. Steven, did you mind it?
I hated it.
No way.
I'm suffering.
No, seriously.
It was good.
Okay. See, he's fine. Don't worry about him. The issue for me is the raisin notes. That's partially why, Shiloh, I agree that one's bias should not affect the individual tastes of another tea head, tea person, whatever. I feel like my subtle bias against this kind of aged white tea prevents me from showing this white tea to someone who might love it. And here in Vegas, we have quite a lot of people who like aged white tea. It's very popular at the tea shop where I help teach. Again, I don't make any money from selling it, but my purpose for being at the shop, it helps me practice a lot to communicate with people and see what their tastes are. And most of the people at the shop who pour it for other people get them to fall in love with the aged white. But then you'll never find me pouring this aged white, which is a classic at Tea and Whisk, because I don't like the raisin. So that's why I'm trying to do this. A part of me is for me, so I can expand my horizons more, to challenge myself, but also I feel like being unable to really love this tea for what it is prevents me from helping other people too. Same thing with pu'er. Sometimes I wish I had that same like devoted passion that pu'er people have. Pu'er heads are like, oolong people are really chill, and you won't see them like waving a oolong flag like oolong's the best, whoa. But pu'er people are like, well, pu'er is the best, like pu'er is amazing. They're more willing to do that. So I find that there are actually a lot of militantly in love oolong fans. Like I love oolong like a lot. Steven likes oolong like a lot, but we just tend to not be as vocal about it. Maybe it's just I don't know, but I find that our pu'er drinking friends are very like, they're not afraid to show how much they friggin' pu'er is the best. And yeah, if I can just channel a little bit more of that, I could maybe help people find their own pu'er love. Yeah. Gakko82, welcome back. We're still working on this white tea. We're getting somewhere though. We're getting quite a bit of success with this Banco teapot here. Shyla, that's a personal challenge of tea educators who love our precious hot leaf juice. During tea clubs, I would bring new teas. So true, Ree. Yeah, I'm like, I'm also not good at taking good comments. Like, do you agree with me? That's great. I'm glad you do. But yeah, I really feel passionate about that. There's a point at which it's not your own tea journey anymore, but also it includes others. So while you might love oolong, what if you meet someone who's just not gonna have oolong as their favorite? You're gonna meet that person eventually. I met a lot of those people, and sometimes I feel like I lose them to the pu'er world. But if I did a little bit more exploring with pu'er, maybe I would be able to join them. And that's not to say that I don't drink a lot of pu'er. We end up drinking a lot of it at the tea shop. Because we have a lot of pu'er drinking friends here in our community. And I can taste pu'er pretty well, and I can talk about it pretty well. But with just a little bit more practice with the pu'er challenge coming up, I think we can get even more of that going. Okay, we got a couple minutes left. I want to do something a little bit different. I'm happy with the results of the Banco, with the drop temperature and the porous cup. I'm happy. Let's mix it up a little bit and try something we don't know what's going to happen. Because sometimes those shots in the dark could be disastrous, or they could give something that's surprisingly compelling, or teach you something new. I like to do these shots in the dark sometimes so that I could be surprised. Shots in the dark. Steven, do you agree with my shots in the dark? Well, these are all teapots that we find do pretty well with white tea. This is the Kyushu we tested yesterday. This is a wood-fired Taiwanese pot that we like for shang pu'er and for white tea. It's got this really beautiful faceted thing going on. Isn't it fascinating?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Same maker as this guy. He does a lot of different styles. And then I have this unglazed porcelain gaiwan that Shiloh was also very kind to help explain to us the other day. Made of kaolinite, I think. Right? Isn't that the clay we use in porcelain? It's not glazed though, so it acts a little bit differently from a typical porcelain gaiwan. I feel like all of these are pretty safe guesses though. Do you think we should use a different pot? Which one do you think we should use? Which one do you think what should we use? I'm just gonna let's see if anyone will dare to like suggest. I find like whenever I ask, people are like, I don't want to suggest. Which one? The one in the middle? I want to see if anyone will suggest. And if not, we'll have to take Steven's suggestion.
Darn.
Chris, how's it going? And Surmise Cha, welcome to the tail end of our tests of a Chow Mei that I don't like because it tastes like raisins. But now I think I've changed my mind in just the last hour and 45 minutes. We've gone somewhere. Yeah, I'm happy. Working with teas you don't usually like because they have a flavor note in them. So Shiloh, regarding Yunnan, I found their shants were leaps and bounds more energetically and flavorfully strong. I found that I developed a love for strong pour after leaving Yunnan. Yeah, I think that's something I've developed from Taiwan too. Is like something I usually wouldn't like as much. Finding it there and seeing how passionate people are for that and how it's just every day makes me accept it a little bit more. So that's why I steep Taiwan oolong really, really strong. Because I find that the farmers there tend to steep oolong really, really strong. I bet that the farmers in Yunnan also steep their pu'er really, really strong. It's just a guess. I'm not sure. Okay. I'm gonna have to go with Steven's suggestion and go with the wood fire pot in the middle. Steven always gets his way. Oh, Steven.
Aw.
No. Let's pump up the let's keep the temperature lower and see if we can get a different flavor profile from this. Because I like the lower temperature effect. I'm going to preheat this pot really quick. We'll have enough time to do like 1 or 2 infusions with this pot, so bear with me. It's just cool to see if we can kind of knock it out of the park a different direction, you know? And I hope that this process has kind of inspired you to take up some of your own teas that you're a little bit not a big fan of for one reason or another. You can work with them. I've done so much kind of hard practice this week, which I've kind of mindfully decided to do. I want to do a little bit more challenging things. We know we do a lot of experiments, but for me, that's kind of, I'm used to it because it's fun to see what the results are. But now I'm trying to work towards a result rather than just seeing what the outcome is, if that makes sense. I'm actually trying to transform this tea into something else, working with challenging teas to make them something else, which is a little bit more tough and a little bit more, you know, interesting. It's giving me a lot of confidence that I can work with these teas, even if they're not my favorite or they're not as easy to work with for one reason or another. Leveling up, I hope, on the tea journey. Raising the bar. Raising, yeah. Enough of that. Unless you guys can think of another one. Raisins are very kind of flexible word. Some words are hard to make puns out of. But raisin seems to have a lot of it that you can do with it. You're breaking up this piece again so that the tea will infuse a little bit more easily. Yes, there are bits of leaf all over my table. That's okay. Not everything is always Instagrammable.
We're gonna have about 10 more minutes. So.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Unless you want to do a third hour.
No, we don't want to do a third hour. As much as I love you guys. We are also going to do a hangout on Discord on Tuesday. We did that last week. That was when we practiced the lid on, lid off together. That was really, really fun. As much as I love doing these lives, I also like hearing your voices and getting your input. So I think actually we're going to try to integrate more of those Discord live chats and hangouts because I don't like the sound of my own voice. Trust me. After these lives, I kind of like slump in my chair and go eat some chips. But when I hang out with you guys on Discord, it's not nearly as exhausting. We'll be doing more of those, so please watch out for those and join us. If you haven't joined Discord yet, the link is in my bio. So I would highly recommend it if you're into doing more deep dive discussions with other tea folks. It's really helped me, like, for sure. I focus a lot in there, and there's a lot of ideas that get kind of shared in there. It's good stuff. Like, I'm serious. Okay. Did I miss anything? Shiloh, yes, very strong. Seems like Yunnan farmers brew pu'er for several hours. I had a friend who boiled pu'er for us one time, and I feel like I jumped a couple dimensions over. I can't imagine doing that every day when I'm there.
He likes to boil this tea too.
It's almost like because I brew it strong, I don't want a baby pu'er, and then I hit myself in the face. Okay. I'm going to take advantage of this really cool feature this pot has, which is that you can pour onto the lid with the pot closed and the hole more gently, but also it is making it so that you don't got to open the pot. So all the kind of aroma on the inside is trapped inside. Yeah. And it's also fun. What else do we do anything for but for fun? If we lose sight of that, we've lost everything. Okay. More of these. Ooh, there's still some in here. We can test out a couple more. Let's test out the Tokoname carbonized cup. This is the same material as my Kyushu from yesterday. It's from Japan. Tokoname reduction carbon. And then we will try to pour these out pretty smoothly. I will try not to jostle these leaves too much. So even if I'm making a mess in my tea table, it's okay. I'll sacrifice the mess for being able to pour smooth. All right, it's a light color. I didn't put as many leaves as I maybe should have, but it's different. Let's see. Start from here. It's sweet. Wow, that's really sweet. I would say it's a little bit on the weak side, but that's really sweet. I like that, like, a lot. Yeah, we like this teapot too. My teacher sold it to me and she was like,
Wow.
hey. And then she took a picture of it and she's allowed me to take home a lot of her teaware, but this is the only one she took a picture of. So I'm like, I gotta make sure I use that correctly.
I'm pretty sure her sister didn't want her to sell it.
That's really sugary too, dude. Porcelain.
Oops, I drank it all.
That's really sweet too. Yes, I like this. Even if it's light, that's tasty, right? Boom, boom, boom. Let's keep going. That's too weak. Let's see. Yunnan, regarding the Yunnan pu'er, Shiloh says I could see air. Your perception changes for sure. Oh, that's different. That actually works well because all of these have been really sugary. And then this this cup has that carbonized tokoname. It's carbonized tokoname. It makes things a little bit more rich and minerally. And this one goes bassy. It's really bassy.
What tea is this again?
Is Neela's a boost in here? Go. Thank you for show. Thank you that I'm glad you were able to show me what your question was. It's a cake. It's a truth of this. Not what you expected, but it turned out really well. Yeah. So, and 3 different experiences, and then you multiply it together with how many pot cups we had, and they're just different tastes. So you can really design what you want out of the tea, even if it's a tea that you don't love. I'm excited. Can you imagine I would do this about this tea? I didn't practice lately, so it's good that it's kind of adding up to something. This is why we do these experiments, so you can do magical things like this. Yeah? Okay. Let me know what your favorite white teas are. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.